Yeah, so what you'll see is in the top left of the screen, you're going to see multiple cars just making their way south to Thibodeau, coming from Battery. At some point in time, you're going to see the collision, which we're going to know is vehicle number 2 from oncoming traffic colliding with the vehicle of Mr. Hall. You will see another vehicle come to a stop, and then you'll see Kyren Lacy come to a stop.
So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens, and then Kyren Lacy is behind him. How far away was he from there?
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyren Lacy did, in fact, pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyren Lacy passed 4 cars. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall.
Okay. So that's Kyren Lacy's lawyer. As we know, this Kyren Lacy case has taken us on a lot of twists and turns. A very emotional case, obviously, because lives were lost, and more importantly, for all of us who are trying to figure out what's right from wrong, what's real from fake, it has been a roller coaster ride as well. But let's pay respect to those who have lost in this situation. Okay, I'm going to try my best to get through this as concise as possible. That video turns into this video with an alternate counter view.
According to the video timestamp, at 12:03 p.m. and 54 seconds, a portion of the crash can be seen as it occurs. Moments before the crash, the gold pickup truck abruptly veers out of the northbound lane into a business, while the green Charger is approaching in the same lane. Immediately after the crash occurred, the green Charger was observed on surveillance video and by witnesses traveling through the crash scene and continues north on LA 20, failing to stop. The briefing will now transition to the troopers' response and investigation.
Okay. Now, obviously, those two don't add up, as they say in court. 2 plus 2 is something between 3 and 5, not exactly 4. So now that leads us to the scene. And this is what officers immediately are greeted with. Check this out.
She had no choice.
Did you see a green Charger flying that way? A green Charger going that way?
There was a green Charger.
That's a green Charger that
caused all this.
SRT8, he caused all that. He went to pass the cars way back there, sir.
The green Charger collided with these cars?
He went right into
He went around that truck, okay?
He was passing up with
her right now, and she had no choice. She hits the road, so he gets this.
All right. We're getting through it, y'all. So obviously we know this took on a different life of its own because of the racial element involved and this propensity for people to show how black they are by a lot of times showing how racist cops are. And in this situation, it got colored differently.
Please, yes, I beg your pardon. I did want to clear space for this.
1 second, please.
This is important.
Yes, guys, Kyren Lacy was supposed to be in the NFL. Kyren Lacy was accused of something and being investigated for something that he didn't do, and he died having to live with the guilt and the consequences of a guilty man knowing he was innocent. It recently was discovered that he was 72 yards away from the crash, that police and state policemen tried to coerce and doctor and use ways to manipulate statements that put this young man behind bars. They changed his joy, they changed his life, and eventually he took his own life. This was supposed to be a career, but at least he was supposed to be here. At some point throughout his career, I would expect to have said his name. So I'm going to say his name tonight.
Amen.
Kyren Lacy was innocent. Kyren Lacy should be here with us. Nothing will ever repair or replace the pain that their parents, that his parents have to feel and his loved ones have to feel. But we could say his name. There were so many stations that ran the fact that he was being investigated. So I wanted to make sure here with Scott, we could say that he was an innocent man and at least know that he has that as he rests.
You and I talked about this earlier tonight, and I'll just share with them what I share with you. I can't recall ever seeing something that made me react viscerally to the point that I felt like my hands were trembling to think that there's video that shows that this is not at all what happened. And that young man took his life. And so I will not say any more. It's just your thoughts here. I just wanted to echo.
Thank you very much.
No, and my apologies for forgetting that because this is a more important thing than we're talking about tonight. Ron.
All right. On that major platform, we were all tuned in to watch that. Well, on that same channel, on a different major platform, how quickly it turned to this.
Yeah, so I've never really had much trouble expressing anything. This has been more difficult because I know that people are hurting, right? 2 lives have been lost. Herman Hall, a man who spent his life in service of others, and Kyren Lacy. He's just a young man who I wish I could tell how much he had to live for. My heart absolutely breaks for both of them, their families, and their loved ones. On Monday night's Sports Center, I addressed the horrific car crash that took Mr. Hall's life, and also the subsequent tragic events that led to the death of Kyren Lacy. In full transparency, y'all, I knew Kyren Lacy personally, but nothing matters to me more than the truth. I always strive to do my best to mix authenticity with the most complete and up-to-date information available. I failed to do that on Monday night based on the subsequent evidence that has been released by the Louisiana State Police Department. I set the highest standards of fairness and, most importantly, righteousness in my work. I didn't meet that standard. But since I've spoken to Kyren's representation at length, and I've also reached out to a representative at the state police office just to have a conversation. They informed me this morning that because it's ongoing litigation, they actually can't divulge anything else. It's always important to me that I gather all factual and important information to provide the complete story. That's a responsibility that I do not take lightly. And when discussed in real time on Monday evening, I failed to do so. And for that, I apologize.
All right. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and make sure you donate to projecttransition.org below. Let's go. Here's the thing. He's not apologizing to me. He's apologizing to all of us, right? But I don't accept that apology because of the recklessness and the thirst that Ryan Clark continues to exhibit in matters that have racial elements. Simple as that. So you can say you apologize, but look, if I walk up to you and slap you and say, my bad, you can accept it if you want. But if I keep slapping you and keep saying my bad, sooner or later, maybe those words will fall on deaf ears. Okay. Now, the reason I'm so into these kind of conversations is because one reason, my son. I want my son to grow up to be a strong man, not somebody who is a victim, not somebody who is always looking and sniffing for some kind of excuse and some racial element to lie back on and say, oh, that's why I didn't do this, or that's why that happened to me. I want him to be above his color with his character. Simple as that, okay? I'm going back in those times, in those thoughts, when that was our motivation. But it's not that now. We don't even have full respect for the people who lost their lives because we're so thirsty when we're watching these shows. And we got a Ryan Clark. Now he has to apologize. We got Scott Van Pelt has to apologize. We have Pat McAfee has to apologize as they get washed away in this whole victimhood that maybe they ain't even feel fully informed, but obligated because of their association with a Ryan Clark. We got an RG3 who maybe or probably is going to have to apologize now because once again, he got caught in this vacuum as well. Now, the family should be priority if we're really going to go there, but they're not. You know what's priority? This political warfare that's going on with these people with platforms that have these personal insecurities. That's what's happening right now. And I want my son, I want your son, your daughters to not get lost in that wash as we just witnessed right here. So in the spirit of all this race baiting and all this race hustling that we're seeing from these guys, that's why we're at this point where they have to apologize because they did this not on accident, but on purpose, and then realize that their purpose was actually wrong in this instance. It was very dangerous to do what Ryan Clark did. Very dangerous, very disingenuous, and most importantly, it is detouring those he's trying to actually empower. Sounds like Ryan Clark is for the people, right? Well, if you're for the people, you're for the cause, you down for it, why you keep doing things that won't empower those same people? By trying to point out that, oh man, this racial discrimination that came from this police department, et cetera, you just opened yourself up and ESPN up potentially for a lawsuit because that's defamation to the fullest degree if these things are proven that they were all false. And as we saw in those videos, there was certainly a contradiction in what Ryan Clark was going with, and Ryan Clark finally found out. So we're in this situation right now where I know why this is happening, and I'm going to say it real, and I'm going to get up out of here because we don't spend enough time talking about this. My summation for Kyren Lacy is simple. As I've lost friends to suicide, and you guys may know, obviously I was teammates with Junior Seau and others I've lost to suicide, not of that same name value. But the point is, two things always come into play, right? Whatever they're dealing with on the inside boiling over, right? So in this situation with Kyren Lacy, it's the guilt that is boiling over, and then it becomes episodic to them. Do you remember your childhood? Do you have children? Children look at time in the sense of it's an absolute. Right now is forever. And that's what happens when you get into a suicidal mindset. You start thinking right now is forever. Okay, but I'm going to leave that alone because I'm going to show some respect to Kyren Lacy and everything. But I didn't want to do a video without giving you my opinion of that whole situation. Like Kyren Lacy, when this accident occurs, Kyren Lacy, when months later he's at his family's house and the shooting, Kyren Lacy, when he's on the chase with the police, and Kyren Lacy taking his own life. That's my summation of that. But my summation of Ryan Clark and others who are in this position is simple. We all get questioned about who we are. If you want to make it to the NFL, people are going to doubt you and question you the whole way. Well, in this situation, it's a racial conversation that is being questioned. And these guys are getting caught up in, specifically Ryan Clark, in being questioned, but it landing and hitting home because these hit dogs are hollering. And in this situation, if you're Ryan Clark, dog, I get questioned on my blackness. But you know damn well I ain't insecure about who I am because if I am, it is. Simple as that. I'm black, so anything I do is a black man doing it. It is not that deep, okay? So if you are, just be. You ain't got to be biggity, blackity, black. You ain't got to do all that because guess what? In the effort of you, Ryan Clark, trying to be real, it makes you look fake. And you got to apologize every other day on these type of conversations. Not me. They questioned me and my blackness when I went to Columbia. I was like, really? I thought going to one of the top schools in the world was actually a positive thing. Oh, well, guess they missed that one. They questioned me when I went to the White House, not once, but twice. I thought you're supposed to respect the president. I thought you're supposed to be honored to get invited to see the Oval Office. Oh, no? Oh, okay. But then a month later, I'm hanging out with Obama and talking to him with my little son. I don't care about all y'all politics. You go into the booth, you vote, you come back out. If you want to tell the world what you're doing, do it. But at the same time, don't let all these questions hit home. Don't make it hit that dog and then that dog holler. So I see it. You know, Ryan Clark got the white baby mama, so the question of that and how he grew up, and they were saying the suburban kid around the white kid, whatever. So what? You gonna go to this extent to try to prove you black? RG3 getting caught up in this stuff, right? You got the white wife. Again, so what? Marry who you want to, dog. Y'all need to start answering these questions the right way. I am, so it is. Simple as that. Okay. I had to do it for my son. Whether y'all love it or don't, it is the real. We need to stop all of this trying to prove who we are instead of just being who you are. Move on, big dog. Move on. So now, you know what we do on this show, boy. We flow, boy. But before we flow, boy, we got to check in on your cybersecurity, boy. Simple as that. So I want to know, are you guys using this product right here? The Smart Simple Online Safety application called Aura. If you're not using Aura, oh, you are exposing yourself to some issues. Trust me, Aura will protect you. It's like an all-pro safety in the backfield. It's like Rodney Harrison back there lurking. And if you got Aura, oh my God, you are up on game because $12.5 billion Americans lost last year to scams alone. So don't think it can't happen to you. That's why I roll with today's sponsor, Aura. Think of them like Rodney Harrison, checking those 3 credit bureaus, alerting you to fraud up to 250 times faster. And guess what? It backs you also with $1 million in identity theft insurance plus 24/7 support. So please lock down your credit, clean up your data, and make sure that you do it all in this one app. Go to Aura.com/Marcellus Wiley. Aura.com/Marcellus Wiley, or click the link in my description. 14-day free trial. Look at that. Stay safe and keep your identity yours. No rap. Somebody passed away. A couple people. We respect life. So see you next time. Become a gym member with Project Transition. As a giver every month, small gifts have a big impact in creating real change. Not only will you transform lives, you'll also win and unlock once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Join me, Marcellus Wiley, in making a real impact through Project Transition, a global giving community dedicated to uplifting underserved youth with mentorship, education, and access to real opportunities. Your donation doesn't just enter you to win unforgettable prizes and exclusive experiences with myself and other gym members. It fuels our mission to empower the next generation of leaders, dreamers, and game changers. From after-school programs, life skills camps, and career development, every dollar helps unlock potential where it's needed most and where every person makes a world of difference. Give back, win big, be the difference, be greater than your greatest excuse. Support Project Transition today. Become a gym member and help turn obstacles into opportunities.
Let me put you on to something that's part of my daily routine now. VINIA, not a powder, not a pill. It's the Daily Chews 2X formula. And yeah, they taste good too. It's plant-based. No stimulants, no crash, no jitters, no banned substances, no junk. It's Informed Sports certified. Just something that actually delivers. Link in description, vinia.com/Marcellus. Discount code Marcellus10 for a 10% discount. Wow. It's been a decade plus that I knew that this day was going to come.
Oh, this is not hyperbole here.
Because I think the verse.
Time to hydrate. Hydration's the situation, so